Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make a mitered box using various types of wood. This wood right here is coming from a pallet that you guys took apart earlier this semester. All different lengths. I just grabbed random stuff. Here's a little bit the same, but wider things. You could cut this right down the middle if you want. Any height you want for the box to be. Okay, and these are all pretty much the same thickness. You should try to grab wood that is about the same thickness. It shouldn't be too uneven. And I'll make another one just out of a long piece of oak. Just one old piece. Cut off a couple pieces, 4 sides on the miter saw, and then we'll start making this box. Okay, so the first thing really is double check, like, are they the same height? They have to be that first. So I'm going to go, if you're cutting off a wider piece, you can make them the same, but I'm going to go to the table saw here with the fence. And I'm just going to rip all these to be exactly the same. I'm just going to cut all 4, even though really 3 of them are the same, but one of them is shorter. To make sure that all this, I'm going to cut all 4 of them. That way they'll be guaranteed to be the same exact height. I grab the smallest one first. I'll adjust my fence to make sure I'm just cutting off just a little sliver. I'm also double checking to make sure that I have a nice straight edge up against that fence. I don't want it to wobble. I'm going to kind of tap that over just so I take a little bit off of that edge. And I'll lock down the fence. And let's see, it looks like I'm going to go turn on the vacuum and get this cut going. Okay, make sure you are using safety gear, eye protection, obviously, ear protection. You might as well get all that stuff while you're going. I'm turning on the table saw. I don't think I've done it yet, letting it power up for the saw stop. You can use a push stick if you'd like, but if you're using a wide enough piece, you won't need it. I'm going to use it for the second 2 cuts. I'm turning it on right now. I'm going to go ahead and make that first cut. I'm just going to use my fingers. I have enough room there. That's a little snag. Cut that piece off. Bump it away with my thumb. That one piece is done. Okay, next piece up. Looking for the straighter edge. Put it up against the fence. One more cut. Same thing. This will be a little bit bigger cut-off piece because it was thicker. And then knock it away. 2 pieces are done. Okay, for these 2, I'm going to use the push stick, just because why not? I think after when I was using it, I'm like, you know what, I probably should use this at the beginning, but I felt safe enough without it. So it really depends. If it seems like it might be dangerous, don't do it. But in that case, with my fingers, it didn't seem so bad. Okay. And on this last piece, just double checking I have the straight piece up against the fence. Go ahead and make my cut. I'm always kind of holding it against that fence. And good. Now, turning off the saw, lowering that blade just for the next person. They can begin fresh. Turning off the vacuum. And now everything should be exactly the same height. I'm going to throw away my scrap piece. Don't leave your scrap on the table, please. Just throw it away. Keep that clean. I did go back and vacuum that sawdust. It only takes about a minute. Just use the vacuum, real quick and easy. And now I'm looking at my wood. It's all exactly the same height. Okay. I don't worry about the length yet, but eventually I'll have to get that the exact same and make a little corner, which they call that miter, which I showed you before. Okay. I'll do the same thing. If you want to try to use another piece of wood or longer piece, same thing. But I'm going to first go over to this miter saws and cut those little pieces off. First thing I'm going to do is chop off that end piece. Remember, I'll open this up, push down the handle, pull out that pin, and bring over the piece. I'm going to chop off about the first inch because, well, there's like a little dent in there, number 1, and number 2, the end of it was kind of dirty and all mangled. So I will fix that. Just chop it off and scrap it, then I'll begin my measurements from that new piece I cut. Okay, same thing, hold up against the fence. I'll turn that light on so I can see the shadow. I let that blade stop, although you don't need to. It's just a habit for me. And now I'm going to take my measure, or my ruler I should say, and I'm going to mark out, I think I just picked kind of random numbers, but I'm going to do 2 sides that are 8 inches, and I'm going to pick 2 sides that are 4 inches. Again, these don't need to be exact at all. I'm just kind of getting the pieces smaller. I'm going to really cut them to the exact length on the table saw, again, using another sled. So I'm not worried about exact numbers here. I'm just kind of getting it close to 2 8-inch pieces and 2 4-inch pieces. Okay, so let's go ahead and make these cuts real quick. Same thing, there's 1 and 2 going right here. Keeping it firm, nice and slow. Any of that sawdust, make sure you should just grab the vacuum really quick and suck all that sawdust up. Again, all this cleanup job is pretty quick. Don't leave your mess, please. It just makes more work for everybody. It's nice to have a nice clean shop anyway. Okay, so all the pieces are cut. I closed that miter saw, and I've got my 4 pieces here. 2 of them, oh, dropped 1. 2 of them are the same size, about. 2 of them are the other size, about, but they're not exact. It's going to be set up looking like this, except these are not going to be butt joints like those are. They're going to be mitered joints. So I'm going to actually go cut an angle on all those corners, and they'll be 45-degree angle, just like my finger is, but when you join them, they'll be exactly 90. Now, I could cut that angle on the miter saw. That does turn. However, I like cutting these miters on the table saw. I have a special sled for it. Okay, so we are back at the table saw. I've got now my 2 boxes. They're all the same height. If you want to use another wider piece, go ahead and rip it using the fence. Cut it to whatever height you want. Although I'm just going to use these 2. I'll put these to the side. Use it for something else maybe. Okay, now the next thing is we need to cut the 45-degree angle. So this is a special sled just for that. It's only meant for cutting 45-degree angles. And basically it's only meant for cutting boxes. Okay, or at least making the sides of these boxes.